Hey, it's Andres Aya with Aya Percussion coming to you from Houston, Texas. We're going to be covering the Texas All-State 2021 Snare Drum Etude right now. First, before we dive into it, let's get into some exercises that can really open up things for us and make sure that we're playing with a nice touch and play some things that are going to help relax our hands and open up our rebound, make sure our timing is ready to go. Just kind of set the table before we start. That way when we get to those things, we're ready to go. First of all, we want to make sure we're playing with a nice relaxed grip. Okay, we want to use a legato stroke. So let's go ahead and start with that. So a little tip here, I put my metronome on ease and uz and silence the rest. That way we get the same pitch the whole time as we switch from duple to triple feel. So I'm putting this around 120 just on ease and uz. So let's look at the first measure. We're going to use the first measure as kind of a primer here for a lot of different things. So we're in a grouping of 2, 2, 3, 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to go back and forth between the right and the left hand. So essentially we're doing 10 on a hand, but I want you to think of this 2, 2, 3, 3 feel. Okay, so let's just go back and forth between the hands. Okay, 1, 2, nice and relaxed. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Make sure everything is nice and relaxed. As you're doing that, obviously we're trying to go for an even tone throughout. We're getting a nice rebound where we're feeling the vibration from the stick and obviously the vibration from the snare. But we want to make sure that we're nice and relaxed and we don't have any hitchiness to that stroke. We want that to be a legato stroke where there's no stop. So we don't have a stroke coming up or we're downstroking. Okay, make sure it's constant motion. There is safety in motion. Throughout this piece, we're going to have duple and triple feel. We want to make sure we don't go too far in either direction, where we're too vanilla or we're doing too much. So we're going to find something right in the middle. But I do feel like when I'm listening to this as a judge, I want to make sure that I'm feeling it the way it's written on the paper. So instead of just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I want to hear 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, with just a little bit of weight on 1. And I'm talking just a little bit. So what I do there is I keep my hands nice and legato, and I add a little bit of molar in my arm, just to add a little bit of weight. You might not even hear it, okay? So I will play a measure on both hands where we don't have any agogic accents, and then I will just show you a little bit of weighted on 1, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Did you catch it? You might see it more than you hear it, but it's subconscious. You just kind of feel it and not really hear it. 1, 2, listen to that again, or try it with me. Okay, hopefully you're hearing the difference between those two. I want to do a little bit of agogic the rest of the time, so let's loop our 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right to left hand, get nice and relaxed and get those agogics in there. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. That gets a nice feel. It's also helping me keep track in the music of where I am. Now let's just do the right hand, and then I want you to insert your lefts on the non-primary notes. So I want you to insert your lefts on 2 or 2 and 3. So it's going to go right, 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 right. And then I want you to switch to right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, left. And strive to make them sound similar. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. If that's not sounding very similar to you, then you need to work on that for a while before we move on. Okay, so pause the video if you need to and just work on that for a second, trying to make sure they sound the same. Now obviously when we go to the right, left, the right hand is still the agogic and has time to wait, and then the left is just passing. Again, subtle agogic. I'm definitely not doing accents, it's just the weight. Okay, another variation we can do is we can do the all rights with agogics, and then I put flams in there, just like measure 1. Okay, so that would go something like this. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so obviously we want to make sure those flams are consistent, that we have the perfect flam, and we're consistent. We don't want to have flat flams, right? And we don't want to have flams that are too wide. We don't want to hear a multitude of different flams, right? Be consistent. I'm not really lifting my grace note very high at all for those flams, but I want to make sure they're heard. Okay, so there's another exercise that can help you with your flam consistency and staying legato as you insert those flams. So you can do those same exercises with measure 2, because that's a different feel. Measure 2 is 2, 3, 2, 3. So let's just go ahead and go straight to the agogics, rights to lefts. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, All right, let's go ahead and do the variation where we insert the lefts on 2s and 3s. Okay, so we'll do a measure of straight rights, and then we'll start inserting our lefts. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. So again, make sure those are consistent between each other, because sometimes we're going to go all rights, and sometimes it's going to be necessary to add your left in because of what's coming up after or before it. So we need to be able to have that flexibility to make sure they sound exactly the same and use them as we need. All right, let's go ahead and do the flam variation where we're adding our flam in. So let's start with a measure of all rights and then insert the flams. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. So obviously we want to have consistency on those flams just like we did on the first exercise. So pause the video if you need to work on that for a bit and make sure that you're being consistent in your grace note height and spacing. All right, before we get the timing, let's work on our legato strokes and getting in and out of single stroke 4s. Okay, so single stroke 4s in this etude will be a 60-note triplet followed by an 8th note. So triplet and, triplet and. Let's start with alternating strokes, right, left. For a measure, let's just stay in 4/4, and then we're just going to add single stroke 4s and try to make sure they're sounding nice and even. So you can listen first. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so I'm employing a little bit of push-pull where I'm dropping rebound on that single stroke 4 in both my hands. I full stroke those first two, and I kind of pull those last two into my hand. So I'm nice and loose, and letting the weight of the stick transfer into the drum, and then getting out of the way and coming back up. Okay, so let's try that a couple times. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Make sure the start and the release of that single stroke 4 is perfectly in time, just like the check. 1 and 2 and, or 1 tay 2 tay, triple the and, triple the and, triple the and, triple the and. Make sure the triplet starts in the attack and ends on the upbeat. Okay, triple the and, triple the and, triple the tay, triple the tay. So work for consistency and relaxation. Obviously, all these exercises can be played nice and low on the edge. Work on your touch because you're going to have some of those single stroke 4s down low. Same thing with your other exercises. Those are some exercises to kind of get you nice and legato. Let's keep the legato but get into some timing. This time exercise is going to be in 2/4. So we're always going to do 2 beats of check, 1 en to 2 en, or 1 ti tay 2 ti tay. The first variation we're going to do is 1 en 2 en, or 1 ti tay 2 ti tay. Okay, so it's going to be something like this. Okay, and let's make sure our right hand is constantly moving. You can put some agagic too, because we're going to use that in this piece. Okay, it's very subtle. Instead of da 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 da, it's da 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 da. Just a little bit of weight. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Let's move into a more of a triple meter. So let's do 6/8. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stop. And then when we get to our variation, we're going to go 2 16th notes, 2 8th notes. So 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. Okay. So listen to it first. Ready? Go. Noticing a little bit of a gajic on the big beats as well. Okay, now make sure that's very subtle. Let's go ahead and try it with the constant right. So da 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 right, da 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 right. Okay, let's try that. 1, 2, ready, go. Make sure both are consistent. All right, now we're going to move to our second variation. Let's go back to duple. We're going to go 1 en to 2 en, or 1 ti tay 2 ti tay. Then we're going to go to 1 en to 2 en, or 1 ti tay 2 ti. Constant rights. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. A little bit of weight on the big beats, but it's not too much. It's very subtle. It's almost subconscious. Okay, now we're going to go to the triple meter. So again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 in, like we're in 6/8. And then I want you to try alternating 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so we're going to go right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left to start. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, let's try that with constant rights this time. 1, 2, ready, go. So again, you can make exercises for these exercises. We could do them back to back 4 times through with alternating, 4 times through with the constant rights. Let's go and try that. See if they sound similar. 1, 2, ready, go. let's do that exercise again, but let's add a third measure to the phrase, which is where we're going to add buzzes on the 16th notes on the variation. So the first one is right, left, right, left. Right, buzz, buzz, left. Right, left, right, left. Make sure they're not too close, where you're doing a press buzz, and they're not too open where it's a drag. Right in the middle, about 3 to 4 buzzes. Nice and smooth. I like to approach my buzzes from the arm. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that. So do it alternating, and then we'll do constant rights, where it's a right, where it's right, right, left, right, 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 left, right as well. Okay, so we're going to do check, variation with the first sticking alternating, then with buzzes. Okay, 4 times. 1, 2, ready, go. Buzz, do it again. Keep striving for consistency on those buzzes and make sure you're staying perfectly in time. Let's go and try that again with the right hand consistency, where the right hand is going right, right, left, right. 1, 2, ready, go. So remember, you can make exercises for these exercises. You could do a 4-2-1 where you're doing 4 of those variations and then 2 of those variations and then 1 of those variations, and have them go back to back, isolate them individually, keep trying different things. Okay, now let's back it up and go back to the 1 and a 2 and a, or 1 theta 2 theta variation. So we're going to go 1 and a 2 and a, then 1 theta 2 theta, and then with buzzes. 1, 2. Okay. 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Now, one thing I've noticed when we're in duple is the right hand has to switch very quickly from buzzes to non-buzzes, and that can be kind of chaotic. Now, I've noticed my buzzes also want to be louder when I'm doing duple, so be aware of that. When you're playing the buzzes, it's going to want to be louder, so maybe you play it even like an inch lower, but also watch your touch, make sure it doesn't get too harsh. Okay, try it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, one of the things I'm noticing when I'm playing these duple variations with buzzes is you're going from buzzes to singles very quickly. So that can tend to get harsh. So make sure you keep soft hands and make sure you're not whipping too much after the buzz. Have soft hands, not. Okay. Okay, so now let's get back to timing and work on our dotted 8th notes to 16th variation. So we have 1 and a 2 and a, then 1 te 2 te, okay, or 1 a 2 okay, 1 and a 2 and a 1 a 2 a stop. Okay, really want to make sure that we're fitting right into the 16th note grid. Don't be early on that left or late. 1, 2, ready, go. Another good way to work on that is to fill it in with check and do accents. Make sure it matches interpretation. And normal. Okay, now let's do that in the triple meter. So we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 in, and then we're going to go dotted note and 3, dotted note and 6. You will have a 1, 3, 4, 6, 1 in your right. Okay, make sure you're thinking 16th note interpretation. Dotted note and 3. 1, 2, ready, go. Try it again. 1, 2, ready, go. So what you're going to notice in this piece is that you're going to have timing rhythms that go from that duple to that triple fill and back to back. So you need to be very comfortable going from one to the other. So with the first variation, okay, or second, or. So again, you can make exercises for these exercises, again, 4, 2, 1, where you do 4 of each back to back, then 2, and then right into 1 variation per. And when we're getting into the piece, you're pretty much going to see that. So you'll see that back to back, but the more comfortable you are switching back and forth from duple to triple in these variations, the easier it'll be when you get to this piece. Okay, the last thing we want to go over is buzz rolls, specifically quarter note buzz rolls. There are times in this piece where I find that I could do 16th note bass, 1E into 2. Okay, and there are some times that are softer where I feel like I can get away with triplets. Triplet 2. Or left lead, triplet 2. Okay, I find that when you're playing a little bit higher, you need a faster roll speed to make sure it sounds nice and even. And then sometimes when you're playing lower, you need to go a little slower because we want to make sure we have soft hands down low, it doesn't sound chaotic, and it's very smooth. Okay, so I find triplets are nice instead of putting some edge on it. So make sure when you're doing these exercises, I would say for the duple 16th note roll check, you should do mezzo forte to forte because you'll see that in the piece often. And then when you're playing the triplet buzzes, I would do the mezzo piano to piano on the edge, getting very low and on the edge of the drum. So I'm going to do a beat up check and then a beat up roll, but we're going to do 16th notes first. 1E into 2, 1E into 2, buzz 2, buzz 2. Again. Triplet 2, triplet 2. 1, 2, ready, go. Now try left lead. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, make sure you can do all 3 of those seamlessly with nice pressure and soft hands. Make sure your buzzes are 3 to 4 multiple bounces and it's not too crushed or not too open. Whether you're doing triplet, nice and smooth and connected, or 16 notes. Okay, if you could play all those exercises nice and seamlessly and control perfectly in time with the metronome, we are ready to jump into the piece.